When he was spewing his verbal vomit about gutting everybody in the clinic like a fish.
And Ms. Quiros and Mr. Ward, if you would each raise your right hands for me, please. You swear the testimony in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do.
Thank you. And Ms. Quiros, make sure you speak up. I barely heard that. I do. So you work at a medical clinic, is that right?
I do, sir.
Okay. And Mr. Ward was a patient at that clinic?
He was.
And in the course of being a patient at that clinic, he's currently banned from the clinic, is that right?
Yes, he is, sir. He's been removed completely as a patient.
And that was because of allegations that he had threatened to shoot people, threatened to gut people, and he was banned from the clinic, and he still apparently is sending texts. Is that accurate?
He has called the clinic on numerous occasions. He is still trying to contact to get refills on medications. Even after he was trespassed and he was contacted by the Ole PD police department, he has still tried to contact the clinic by calling.
Okay. And when was the last call in your recollection?
The last, he left a voicemail. The last one was on October 9th.
Okay.
Just before I was.
Yeah, I'll get to you. And you were served sometime after the 9th of October, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Mr. Ward? Your thoughts?
May I come up closer, sir? I have a hearing disability.
Sure. Were you able to hear what Ms. Quiros said?
Yes.
Okay. So what would you like to tell me?
Completely deaf in my left ear, so
That's fine.
Turn this way,
Yep.
sir. I need to tell you a bit about my physical condition because it bears on this. I've never been a defendant before. I have never been in court except to testify in real estate cases many years ago.
Okay, so let me clarify. You're not a defendant. This isn't a criminal case. You're what's called a respondent on somebody's petition for a protection order.
All right, I'm here because I think this petition should be withdrawn.
And why is that?
Because it is based on false information and misunderstandings and exaggerations in the reports.
So let me just stop you. Do you think, well, first of all, is it your assumption that I have the power to order the clinic to allow you to return to them as a patient?
No, sir. No, sir. I do not assume that, and I have no intention of ever going back to that clinic again or seeing anyone in multi-care again. You have my word on that. And also, Bobby, you have my, where is she?
She can see you.
Okay. You have my word, Bobby, that I will never disturb you or anyone else. And in fact, I never have. Here is, first of all, I want you to understand that I have a lot of things wrong with me. I'm 85 years old and I suffer from a multitude of maladies. Here is my doctor list. By terminating me at multi-care, they eliminated my primary care physician, my cardiologist, the endocrinologist that treats my diabetes, my urologist. I have several urinary tract problems. I am incontinent. I have to wear diapers. I have ear, nose, and throat specialist at multi-care that treats me for my hearing loss. I have a neurology and a hematologist. In total, action has terminated 7 primary care physicians in these various categories. In addition to that, I have all of these doctors that are heart surgeons, gastroenterologists, orthopedics, orthodontics and radiology. And I've had neurosurgery in my brain. Dr. Vieira, Dr. Wies, and Dr. Abized have done skull surgery on me. So I'm suffering from, number one, the hearing loss. And that is the most important thing I want to get across to you and to Bobby.
Okay, she can see you.
Who have always liked and gotten along with. I've been going to this clinic, I've been going there ever since it opened. My primary doctor that I talk to is Dr. Kennedy, my cardiologist at Multicare. And he treats me for a multitude of things. They've done 2 heart operations on me. I have had multiple passing out episodes. They call it syncope. And I've had to go to the hospital once in the ambulance. They're having a hard time explaining these things, but they can.
Okay, so let's relate this to their request for this protection order.
All right. I take all these drugs. This is the number of drugs I take every day. I take 22 pills every day. I sleep with a CPAP machine. You know what that is. And without it, I wake up and I don't even know where I am, and I am not rested because I haven't slept. I only thought I had. I've only recently gone on the CPAP machine. The absence of sleep causes personality changes in me. I have diabetes, and sometimes I can control it, sometimes I can't. My blood sugar swings when they get too high or too low affect my mood and my attitude and my method of speech. And I want you to understand that. Here is a problem list from one of my doctors: diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, anxiety, Stokes Adams syncope, that's the passing out, whatever these things, CAD, coronary artery disease. I've had 2 heart operations. The main problem here is I'm sure you've read these complaints and things.
I have.
And the words that appear repeatedly are loudly and yelling. And I want to explain to you that I was not yelling. I was not being loud. To the perception of the listener, perhaps, but not to me. And the reason for this is I have a kind of hearing. This is not normal old age hearing loss. What I have is I had an explosion in my ear, and my eustachian tube is apparently disconnected, and they can't fix it. I've seen 3 ear doctors about this, and they keep trying to treat it. One doctor charged me $6,000 to put in steroid injections. Medicare paid for most of it, but I was desperate. The hearing loss thing means that I can't hear myself. Most people don't know about this, but
that I gave Ms. Milligan, I'm assuming bacterial vaginosis.
So I speak loudly so that I can hear myself. The person on the other end of the conversation thinks I'm yelling at them. This happens all the time. It's not just Bobby. Bobby's wonderful. She's the only person that I really like. In fact, I tried to put these things online. I couldn't do it anymore.
That's okay.
I talked to, we'd like to show you what I said to, hearing loss. I wanted to show you, these are the charts, anything below the top.
Yeah, I trust that you have significant hearing loss. I understand the point you're making.
So the yelling is pertaining to the hearing.
Right. So let's talk about the words that were heard.
I did not say those words, sir. I am an English major, a student of language with a minor in theater, and I don't talk this way. I would never use the word gut as a verb.
Did you ever threaten anybody at Multicare?
Absolutely not. I did
And-
not. And Bobby knows that I did not. I never threatened her or anyone else.
And why in your mind would somebody perceive that you had?
Because she alleges that that I said I'll kill everybody. I'm never going to come back to a doctor again. I was very frustrated.
And what did you say when you were frustrated?
Well, I don't think I said anything that was profane, but I want you to understand that Bobby has been drawing blood for me for over 5 years. I seek her out because I consider us to be friends. I've known her for over 5 years. There's never been a problem with Bobby.
Okay, so let me just focus you here, Mr. Ward. What did you say? You indicated to me you were very frustrated. What did you say in expression of that frustration?
Well, I probably said something along the lines of what she is alleging. I said, I'm just sick and tired. Well, as you can see from this doctor list, I have 20 doctors.
Right, I saw
I have
that.
to go to 3 different, some weeks I have to go to 3 different doctors. 3 different ones, and they're very inflexible on their appointments, and they're very hard to get into. I'm trying to find my statement about what I think happened that day, in contrast to Bobby's description of the same meeting.
Okay, so let me ask you another question. Ms. Quiros indicates that you had been banned from Multicare because of this incident and perhaps others, and that you continued to contact Multicare after being told not to. Talk to me about that.
No, yes, I can explain that.
Okay.
I lost my cane. Very important to me. I have several other ailments I haven't even mentioned to you. And I presumed I had left it in Bobby's office, in Bobby's lab office. And the reason I called the clinic, I knew none of this, you understand. All of this happened before there was any of these orders issued or the police contacted. I was calling the clinic to ask Bobby if I left my cane in her office. And that was all. It was all. Only reason. So you haven't seen this because I have been unable to, as I said, upload it to the file. But if I just read this, it's only a paragraph.
Go ahead and read that one paragraph.
It says, this is directed to Dr. Kennedy, my cardiologist at the clinic. It says, you and I had a wonderful meeting in your office on Thursday, 18 September. I jokingly said I deserved the Nobel Prize for curing my diabetes. You demurred and ordered a series of blood tests. I departed without speaking to anyone, as it was late in the day. My appointment was at 4:30. The clinic closes at 5. And everyone had left. I was happy, as I always am when I see you. Dr. Kennedy is my primary doctor, and we are good friends. He's been my cardiologist for over 10 years at 3 different clinics. The following Wednesday, 4 days after this appointment, I went to my 3 p.m. hematology appointment for my regular infusion of B12 and iron. Always a bad experience because most of the people in there are getting chemotherapy.
Okay.
Cheers. And so anyway, I said, to subdue my anxiety, I ingest 1/2 of a Xanax before entering. I always feel great after those shots. B12 shots make me feel good. I have anemia, and I have to have regular, and pills don't work. I took pills for years, and for some reason they don't work, so they just start giving me shots. I have to go in and get a shot every 2 weeks. The iron is only about once a month, and they're tapering that off. But anyway, I always feel great. As I left that clinic,
I can see how Bobby got excited
from Tultz Institute. That's where we all ago. I decided to swing by and get the blood draw on my way home. There were several people waiting in the reception area and 2 girls busily talking on the phone behind the counter. I walked past them all in silence and went directly back to the check-in area for the lab. Nobody was present, so I dutifully filled out the regular blue form and put it in the little blue basket. That's the form. I mean, I know the procedure because I have blood draws at least once a month and sometimes twice.
Okay.
And put it in the basket as usual. There was one other blue form in the basket ahead of mine. I stood in place and waited in silence because I know these things don't take long and that Bobby would be with me shortly. There was one other blue form in the basket ahead of mine. I stood in place and waited in silence. An unknown tech came out and escorted the male patient before me back to the lab. Almost immediately, Bobby, my regular hematologist, came out and greeted me warmly, as she always does. As I said, she's been drawing my blood for 5 years, and I always thought we were good friends. Bobby has been doing all my blood draws for several years, and we've become friends. She is diabetic as well, so we talk about that. We talk about dogs and particularly donuts, the food she misses most. She sometimes jokingly asks if I brought her donuts. We joke and laugh a lot together. This is over a 5-year period.
Okay.
She is really the best I've ever known at her job and a genuinely kind person. I always leave in a fine mood because of Bobby. Here comes the important part. As I walked out of your clinic, I spoke to no one. No one. I was only there for a quick blood draw and to get out. It was 5:30 in the afternoon. I did not utter one word to anyone at Pulse on that Wednesday afternoon, except to Bobby inside her small, not one word. The next day, Officer Heggie of the police department calls and says that Alicia, whom I do not know, sir, has reported me to the police for yelling, making profanities, and making threats. Well, if I made any threats, they were general threats. I didn't threaten any person. Of course, I didn't threaten Bobby.
And what do you mean by general threat?
Well, I said I was upset because my prescriptions weren't being filled. And I have, when you go to
Okay, so let's just focus. What were the general threats?
the general threats were, I said, I'm just going to stop going to doctors and die because I'm sick and tired of all these doctors and all these clinics and all these receptionists. It was just conversation between 2 people who have known each other for years. It never occurred to me that someone would think I was threatened. I've certainly never threatened Bobby and never did.
Okay.
And she's the one who's applied for this order. I believe she's been coached. They sent me 30 pages. This complaint is 30 pages long, more than 30 pages, describing all sorts of things. Some of them don't apply to me, of course, children, custody, guns, and things like that. And so I wrote 3 emails. All of this is before I was contacted by the police. I wrote 3 emails to Dr. Kennedy. And I wish you could read them, sir. I said, some horrible misunderstanding has occurred. A person in your office named Alicia has called the police department. Additionally, Alicia has unilaterally banned me from all multi-care clinics without reason. The police officer directed me to call Alicia. That's why, and I have his statement telling me to do that. That's why I called the clinic, because the police officer told me to call her. Also, I was trying to locate my cane. That's why I asked for Bobby. Did I leave my cane in your office? Was all I wanted to say to her. I hadn't been contacted by the police or thrown out of the clinic or any of that. I believe this Alicia woman, for some reason, has a vendetta for me. And I believe that this entire statement by Bobby was written and coached and was a collaboration with this Alicia person. But I didn't know who was accusing me. I told him here in this email, who is accusing me? Where did this alleged offense occur? Who saw this? Can they describe the offender? These are valid questions. Please ask some independent person to investigate. I'm talking about the clinic manager or the district manager, someone like that. These girls at the front desk, Judge, they change all the time. There's an accusation in here that I came in 2 days early for my appointment. And the reason for that is they wrote 12/4 on the appointment and Thursday. Well, 12/4 isn't a Thursday. So I didn't know whether to come in on 12/4 or on Thursday. So I went in on 12/4. Said, here I am. And they said, your appointment's not for 2 days. And I showed them this card.
Okay.
And she tried, whoever the girl was, tried to take the card away from me. And I said, I wanted to show it to Dr. Kennedy. So I showed it to him and said, I was here 2 days ago. And I said it was the wrong day. And here's the card that shows that. Dr. Kennedy's remark to me was, they've started hiring a bunch of high school girls out there, and they don't know what they're doing. He said, anyway, you're here now. So we did that. So I've asked.
Okay, so I'm going to, we'll bring this to a conclusion here.
Okay, I think Bobby should withdraw this complaint because I didn't do these things. And if I just, my threats were general and they were in the course of a private conversation with Bobby, an old friend of mine and my lab technician for 5 years. It never occurred to me that she would be offended. I did not threaten her, and she will tell you that. I did not threaten any individual at all. I just said, I'm sick and tired of these doctors. I'm sick and tired of these receptionists in this doctor's office. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of taking 22, I take 22 pills every day.
Okay, now you've told me this a number of times.
Plus
so,
I wear this mask thing.
Right, I understand. We've run to the...
It's just maddening.
Sure.
I have nothing else to do but take pills and go to doctor's appointments and puncture my finger, and I wear a monitor on my arm. And every time I go to a doctor, they give me a new pill. And then the next doctor I go to in Seattle says, oh my God, you shouldn't be taking that. Stop taking that. Then, I mean, I have conflicting information from all these doctors. And then I show up at appointments and they say, oh, that's been canceled. You'll have to come back in 2 months, which is the next available appointment. I'm in Seattle and they're telling me this.
Okay.
And I can't keep up with all my doctor's appointments. All I do is take pills and take blood pressure readings at home.
All right. So, Mr. Ward, thank you. I understand your frustration. I would be very frustrated if that was my life too. So.
Thank you. I think anyone would. I think Bobby, given the circumstances and given the facts and given the benefit of time to think about this, she will realize.
Okay, I'm going to give her a chance. So you can go ahead and.
We've had 100 encounters. And, well.
Okay. No, I'm just going to send you back to your table there. Thank you, sir.
Her statement says very clearly that she never had a problem with me before.
Okay.
And when I left, I said thank you to her, and we were very friendly. If you read her statement, you saw that.
I did.
There were no complaints in that.
Thank you, Mr. Ward.
Thank you for your time, sir. Okay. I hope I didn't leave anything out. There was so much.
No, I think you covered it. Ms. Kuros, do you have anything else you want to add?
Yes, Your Honor. So starting
I wanted to hear the rest.
July of 2024, Multicare has had Mr. Ward sign more than one behavioral contract for his outbursts and his violence. Obviously,
okay, Mr. Ward.
I cannot be coerced into doing anything. I will guarantee you that. I personally, because I am an older woman than the other techs and things, I take care of him because I believe I can handle him as a person. Some of the younger girls, some of the younger techs become very fearful of him because of his voice. I have even told the police officer he has a very loud, aggressive voice. So don't take it as aggression. But that day in my office, He was more than 20 feet away from me when he was spewing his verbal vomit about gutting everybody in the clinic like a fish, letting them bleed out on the floor, shooting everyone between the eyes, and telling he didn't care if he lived. He was not going to take any more drugs. He was not going to take any more medications. To me, that's a psychotic episode.
All right.
I did my job. I got him out of the clinic without getting him any more roused up. I went to Alicia, who is the assistant manager for pulse cardiology, and I presented her with, this is what happened. He is threatening violence in the clinic. Nobody coerced me. He was notified on 9/25 by Officer Higgins that he was no longer a patient from this facility. He's never used a cane before, Your Honor, so he wasn't looking for a cane. He was on the phone. I was standing next to Alicia when she was talking to Mr. Ward on the phone, and he was saying, why am I lying? I've never said that. Why would Bobby lie about that? I was standing right there listening to his whole conversation. But I had already filed for the restraining order. I shouldn't have to come to work in fear of finding my coworkers or somebody else dead in here and not knowing whether he's going to decide to turn on me.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Quiros.
Can I respond, Your Honor?
No, you don't need to. Thank you. All right. I've heard both of you give me your versions of this. Clearly, Mr. Ward is frustrated with the current state of his life at the age of 85 and all the different things he has to do to try to keep adding years on. And it would be frustrating. I understand that. It's hard enough to go to one appointment and much less regular appointments, and many of them. But that's not a basis for the expression that maybe isn't intended at any particular person, but it's just an expression of frustration that involves threats to other people because of one's own frustration with where they are from their health. I am going to grant the request for the order. Mr. Ward, you're to have no contact with Ms. Quiros for the next year at all. You're not to go within 1,000 feet of her workplace or her residence or herself. We'll give you a copy of this order. Ms. Quiros, a copy will be available to you if you contact the court and wish a copy of that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Quiros. And Mr. Ward, we'll get you that copy in just a moment so you can sit tight. 1 year.
You can make it to 20 years.
Okay.
What I mean is, I assure Bobby, who's been my friend for a long time, that this was a private conversation.
Okay. You know, and she heard what you said.
What?
She heard what you said. You had explained that earlier.